Well, hello everyone.
That sounded so unnatural.
Here we are again.
Oh my gosh. Hi, I'm Wendy. This is Nikki. We are robots.
We're trying to keep this, time-wise down to a science.
Okay.
Anyway, it's great to be back. This is our fourth broadcast
Yes.
with many more to come. It looks like
Oh,
there are a lot of things in the work which we'll be talking about later on. But we're happy that you're joining us. And tonight we're going to have some really special guests. We will have.
oh.
He's going to be here. Them. Hal Roland and Tom Lippincott will be our
Yeah.
guests today.
I'm very excited because I know both of them. I work with both of them, both musically and educationally. So they're both such cool guys.
Yep. But before we get to Tom Lippincott, who will be our first guest, we wanted to talk a little bit about something fun that happened last week. And I guess we should let the audience know that part of what we've been doing, we've been figuring out the technical demands of the StreamYard platform, and we found that it works best if you have a laptop, and then we figured a USB mic seems to pick up the best sound for recording guitars and pianos and all that. So part of our job is taking. Rick Katz has been helping with this as well, sending and or taking these USB
Dropping off.
microphones to anybody who may not have one. And it fell on us to take it to Hal Roland last week.
Yep.
And so Wendy, of course, had this brilliant idea.
Well, we said, okay, we're going to knock on your door. We're going to drop it at your doorstep. The mic will be there at your doorstep. We'll text you. We just dropped off your microphone. You can open your door and pick up the mic. And then, but then after you do that, go to your balcony. So I had brought lawn chairs and we brought some pretzels, and we were sitting outside, and we had set up our little chairs right outside because they live like on the third floor. So there we are, visiting our socially distant visiting with Helen and Ida Sema.
Yeah, and it was just fun to. I think we were there about an hour, and we had. First of all, it was all we thought very Romeo and Juliet, or
Yeah, I was like, how Punzel, let down your hair, but
and we were all set with our little box of pretzel sticks, and we were chit-chatting, and of course something was missing. So Irasema, of course, offered us some wine, and I just had to run up and get my paper cups of wine
it's like,
that she left through the gates. Yes, so that was actually our highlight, one of the highlights of quarantine week this week.
well, what it made me realize is that even though we are chatting with people online, doing Zoom meetings and having FaceTime hangs and things like that, you really do miss having somebody right in front of you, even though we were far apart. But it was a different feeling. And
It felt like a good visit.
yeah, yes.
I mean,
So,
we really were just comfortable there, sitting on the lawn, talking
Yeah.
about things.
yeah, it was nice. It was good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Anyhow, so let's talk about our first guest who's coming up.
Yep.
We're going to have a great guitarist. And I've played with Tom, not enough, to be quite honest. Several times, for whatever reasons, our paths haven't crossed, but he's an amazing guitar whiz and a great educator. He has these great educational videos on YouTube, which we'll talk about later on. Composer, he's fronted many groups. There are some other projects that he has done over the last few years, which we'll touch upon in the interview. But without further ado, let's bring Tom Lippincott with us.
Woo!
Hey,
The
Tom.
crowd goes wild.
Hi guys,
How are you doing?
pretty good.
Good. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this.
I'm happy to be here.
I know you're one of the people that has maintained work and are teaching online.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah.
one of your students is online because actually we have a mutual student, David Luces, and
Oh, yeah.
at Miami Dade, you teach him guitar, I teach him voice, and so I told him at our last lesson that you were going to be on, so he's watching, and
Cool.
yeah, so.
So we have a lot of things to talk about, but before anything, would you please play something for us?
Absolutely. And as I told Nikki yesterday, if you hear any clamps, it's just the quality of the connection.
right.
It's not me.
It's not
Right.
you, for sure.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm going to take my headphones off when I play. I'll tell you what I'm going to play first. I'm going to play a medley of two tunes. This is kind of my tribute to Bill Evans, one of my big heroes. The first tune is a tune of his called Remembering the Rain. And the second, and that was written in 1979. It was on his New Conversations album. And then the second tune is a standard by Jewel Stein called Make Someone Happy, but it's one that Bill Evans was quite known for playing. And I kind of stole his arrangement anyway. So here goes.
Wow.
Beautiful. So gorgeous.
Fantastic.
That is just beautiful, Tom. Hey, can you explain a little about your guitar?
Oh, sure.
It doesn't look
It's kinda
like a regular
nerve-wracking doing
Fender
this.
Strat to me.
Is it?
Oh, no. No. Yeah, this is actually kind of harder than playing in front of a live audience. I feel like I'm playing on TV or something. It's kind of nervous. But
don't
anyway,
worry.
yeah,
Hardly anybody's watching. Ha 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 ha.
yeah. I know that's the only consolation that I have.
No, well, Frank
Um,
Carmelitano just said that it was, just beautiful.
Hi,
And
Frank.
David Shanzer said beautiful lip. And Harmony Terry said Harper. So a lot, actually there is a lot of people watching. Julie and Kelly are watching. And so,
Hey.
yeah.
So I guess
Right,
first
so
of all,
anyway.
yeah.
Yes, go.
This crazy guitar.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guitar players that are heroes of mine. Mostly only other guitar players know about them. One guy is George Van Epps, who was known for playing a 7-string guitar with an extra low string. And then there was another guy, Lenny Bro, who's known for playing a 7-string guitar with an extra high string. So long story short, a long time ago, I wanted to have a guitar that could kind of do some of those same things. And I mentioned that Bill Evans was one of my big heroes too, so I've always been jealous of piano players. My stock joke is I've got a case of deep-seated pianist envy.
Of course.
So, so anyway, I had the idea that oh, thanks, Kelly. That's the guy who's straightening the frets out. Yeah. Anyway, I had somebody build this, and it's got 2 extra strings, so it kind of expands my range a little bit. The inner strings are like a regular guitar,
Okay.
and I've got this high string on the top, and then a low string on the bottom. So it does allow me to get a little bit closer to some of the pianistic stuff that I love, and just, I guess, giving me a little more flexibility. I had this guitar built like I had no money, and I just took a really big gamble and spent a bunch of money on it. And luckily, I really love it. So I've had this guitar since 2001, and
Oh,
it's
wow.
really become like part of me. I don't know what I'd ever do if I lost it. It's kind of irreplaceable at this point.
How weird was it to work everything out with those 2 extra strings, enveloping
Oh,
your
man.
your normal 6 strings?
Yeah, it was. I mean, Nikki, have you played 6-string bass before?
I still don't consider myself a 6-string bass player for that reason. I feel like, I never spent the amount of time to do it, but it is a weird sensation.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
my
one-
comfort level's in between these other strings.
Right, and it's one thing to have the low string, but the high string, man, that was like it was like learning a whole other instrument.
Yeah,
It took me a couple of years just to even be able to like ignore the fact that the high string was there.
And
You know, that I thought when I first got the guitar, I'll just play it like a 6-string and add the other strings later, and
Right.
it didn't really work
oops.
that way.
Now, I thought you were going to tell us that you added an extra middle string.
Oh,
Of
I'm not
course.
that masochistic.
I don't even know what that means.
Wow. So I imagine there were no books for that. Did you just have to figure this out on your own?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, back when I got this guitar, I don't think there was anything around. No, I still don't really think. I mean, there are some jazz guitar players that play 7-string that are
Right.
patterned after George Van Epps, who played
Yep.
with the low string. I
Sure.
think there are a few sort of, instructional methods and stuff that have to do with that. But
Right.
no, this is pretty much uncharted territory for the most part. So, yeah, I pretty much had to come up with it myself.
So is that your go-to, or is this just more for solo work? Or
Anything that's jazz or classical, also, even though I'm a real hack classical guitar player, but those 2 styles, I play this guitar and I play with my fingers on my right hand. And then if I have a pop gig or rock or country or whatever, anything like that, I still get out my old Strat,
right?
6 strings, and play with the pick. And I
Got it.
hack my way through that.
Yeah. Well, if that's hacking,
And how old were you when you started playing?
I was 13 when I started.
so would
I
that
was-
be around this time here?
That's actually a couple years later. I couldn't, because you asked if I would send some like early pictures, and that's the earliest picture I could find. That was actually my first decent guitar that I had,
Uh-huh.
so I was real proud of it when I got it.
Aw.
And I guess I wanted my parents to take a picture of me with it.
Right.
But
Oh,
yeah,
and on your bio, I saw you actually didn't even start out on guitar, right?
right. Trombone was my first instrument.
Wow.
I'm part of the trombone recovery group.
Well, I was intrigued because it's not like you tried trombone for a year or 2 and then went on to other instruments. Apparently, you had gone through your first year of college as a trombonist.
Kind of. Yeah, actually, I mean, this is actually a little embarrassing, but what happened was when I first went to college as a freshman, it was North Texas State University, and I did go as a guitar major, but there were 80 guitar players at the school at that time, and the competition was pretty fierce, and I auditioned, and I remember I made it, that they put out a piece of paper that had like the list of, in order of who got top spot,
my
who got
gosh.
the bottom. And I was about 2/3 up, so I felt pretty good about that, but I still wasn't anywhere near the high enough to make any of the ensembles or, any of that stuff. And so I think what happened, if I remember correctly, the second semester, there were like a bunch of classes that I wasn't going to be able to take because I hadn't made ensembles. But somebody came up and said, they need trombone players for these bands. Like they don't even have enough to fill up because they had 9 big bands. And so I showed up to auditions and played trombone. I could still hold it and still kind of get a sound out of it. And they're like, "You're in," So I played for a semester in the 9 o'clock big band, which is like the bottom big band. And then finally the next year I started getting into the ensembles and stuff. So trombone actually kind of saved me in a way.
And when did you end up at U of M?
Let's see, I got there in 1988.
Okay, that's when I graduated. So I guess I guess we were kind of just missed each other.
Right.
Or
And
we.
Yeah,
I
definitely
had
did.
just left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I just missed both of you. Wendy, I knew who you were because I played with the jazz vocal ensemble, and I know Michelle
Okay.
Amato and Lisa
Yeah,
Lyons
yeah.
would talk about you. I think I may have even seen you do something on campus
Maybe,
once or
yeah.
twice.
It's hard to
But I
look.
definitely
Once you leave, they keep pulling you back in. You know how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's hear another song, and then we'll talk a little bit more.
Okay. Let's see. I think I'm going to play a Beatles tune because I'm a huge Beatles fan, and I hardly ever play without playing at least one Beatles tune. So
Sounds good.
this is called "She's Leaving Home," and it was originally from Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Great soon. I love that. So good. Well, so
She was singing along here.
I love, that's one of my favorite Beatles tunes. But also, what I really love about jazz musicians doing Beatles covers is that they're really simple tunes, just great melodies and simple, and then everybody just takes it somewhere else, and it's such a great kind of vehicle to put your own spin on. It's just great.
Yeah,
Really
I definitely feel the same way. Like I said, I hardly ever do a gig, at least where I'm choosing the music, where I don't play at least one Beatles tune.
Yeah, it's great.
That's how I was inspired to become a musician in the first place.
Yeah, we got Camila Valendia.
Hey, Camilo.
We talk about a little bit about your career and some of the things you've done, and
Yeah, I'm going to bring up some pics here, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about them.
Okay.
let's see, what do we got?
Just as long as it's not that police lineup photo.
So right here,
Okay. Yeah, so this is me waving my arms around like a madman.
Did it work?
Yeah, the security came and had me removed from the building, so
so
I got
guess,
the rest of the day off.
Right. So I guess we should mention to the audience that you've taught at various universities and colleges, but currently you're at 2, right?
Actually, at 3 currently.
3, okay.
Yeah. So this is FIU, Florida International University. So this is the jazz guitar ensemble, and this is from some years ago, actually. I don't know if you guys happen to know a bass player in town named Matt Johnson.
I do
But
not.
anyway, okay. But see, he's been around. I think he's in his 30s now. But that's him back there on bass
Okay.
when he was a
Oh.
grad student. And I don't know if there's anybody else that you would currently recognize that was in the guitar ensemble. But yeah, it was something that I've always really enjoyed. Guitar players typically are part of a rhythm section.
Right.
So we don't really get a chance to get that full playing in an ensemble kind of experience, being in a section and following a conductor and that whole thing. And I guess maybe partially because of my background playing trombone when I was a kid, I thought that was a really cool part of music. And this guitar ensemble thing is one of the only ways that I think guitar players can kind of get that. And even though it's not like there's a bunch of professional guitar ensembles out there that they're going to go play in, I think it gives them a better perspective when they are playing with an ensemble, maybe like a pops orchestra or whatever. They can kind of relate to what's going on a little bit better if they've kind of walked a mile in the shoes of the,
Right.
third violin, or I guess there
Right.
isn't a third
Plus,
violin.
it's important to know what your kind of lane is on each gig you have. Really,
Yeah.
your lane is here. Please don't go outside the lines.
Right.
And it's an art in itself to be able to play your part really well.
Right.
And sometimes you're the soloist, and sometimes you're the background, but it's really important, either one.
And
Right.
I'll go on to this.
All right. You might recognize that guy.
I do know him.
Our very own Rafael
Yeah.
Valencia.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I was kind of just starting out, he was the guy. He was the guy in town that was doing all the studio work and doing all the gigs. So he was one of my first heroes.
Yeah. So this was kind of my 15 minutes of fame, actually. I subbed for Lindsay Blair on the Don Francisco Presenta show for a couple of weeks, so that was taken during that time.
Right.
And Raphael really showed me the ropes. That I actually, it's possible that in this photo he was going, smile, smile.
No, I'm sure he was. We should say that's Rafael Valencia, and a lot of people know him as California.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Great
Oh,
guy, great
that's-
bass player.
Yeah, great.
That was a fun experience. Speaking of pressure, like being on international television live, luckily I wasn't playing solo guitar or anything, but still it was a lot of pressure. I don't know if you guys remember. I don't remember what year this was, but there was a huge Chilean mine disaster,
Yeah.
Yes.
and miners were trapped. Well, Don Francisco was Chilean, so he had this big connection to Chile, and they broadcast the show live to billion or millions probably of
Oh,
people
wow.
the day after that happened or something, and I was there when it happened. I remember just like being, wow, that's probably the most people I'll ever play to.
For sure.
That's really cool.
We've got
This is I thought that was a cool photo. It's one of those
It is.
things
It's a cool
where
photo.
they took a photo and made it look like a painting. It's a woman named Susan Kaplan who took the picture. But this is Steve Cornix and I. Steve is a percussionist who's been around town forever, and I for a long time actually. I know Nikki knows Dave Shanzer. You guys mentioned him.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Dave and I, for many years, played as a duo, percussion and guitar.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then when I moved down to Broward County, it became a little harder for us to, get stuff going. So in the recent years, Steve kind of took up that slack, and he books all these gigs, and it's always a lot of fun to play with him because basically I have complete freedom. I mean, he's playing percussion, so it's basically like me playing solo guitar and him
Right.
playing a groove to it. And we've sort of evolved into this thing where we do this kind of stream of consciousness. We'll just start playing, and then I'll think of another tune and go into that one, and usually songs will last like 45 minutes.
Right. Well, why not?
Yeah. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. So you might recognize some people in this picture.
Yeah,
I
of
do.
course.
You got your Mr. Dave Fernandez there in the front, and then Pete Brewer and Ed
Yeah.
Mena.
Yeah.
And he's kind of blocked by the music stand right now, but you might be able to tell that that's the forehead of Derek Fairholm.
Yes. Okay.
That's funny.
Anyway, this is a band that Dave has had for a while. He calls it the Motet, and it's had different varying instrumentations. But I think, as far as I know, I've always played in every incarnation that he's had. Dave I've known for a really long time. As a matter of fact, your second guest tonight, Hal Roland, is responsible for Dave and I knowing each other.
Well, it's funny you say that. I want you to stay around just for a few minutes after your segment's over, because we're going to bring you on because Hal wanted to tell a story about you.
Oh,
So
great.
We haven't vetted it.
we don't know what it is. So.
Hopefully we won't break any international laws or anything.
Right.
Exactly.
So this quartet,
Oh, this was my own group.
okay.
And again, you'll see Dave there. I really love playing with Dave. He's just such a unique person.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of the funniest
Isn't
people.
He's special.
Yeah, he's very special.
We love you, Dave. Hey, so while you're playing this picture, why don't we play the video of the performance?
Yeah, I did a little excerpt from a couple of excerpts from some concerts that you did, and I believe there was a version with maybe another bass player. But we'll play it and then we can talk about that.
Okay, cool.
All right. So this, I believe, was at probably WDNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Look like it.
Burning.
So good, you guys. Really, really good stuff.
How long had you been working with that group?
Well, let's see. I mean, Dave,
That's-
I've known the longest, and we first collaborated together, like kind of doing our own music, probably 15 years ago or something like that, at least.
Right.
And then Rodolfo Zuniga, the drummer, I've known him for I think about 10 years, and same thing. We've played together a lot on and off over the years. And he's definitely one of my favorite drummers to play with, and one of my favorite people too. So that's a great combination. Always, when you really trust somebody, I guess. And then I've used several different bass players with my own group. Most not because they like couldn't cut it or something like that. Mostly because they all moved away.
Right. Right.
The guy that you saw me with in that first clip was Dan Montgomery, who was a really wonderful young bass player and big guy.
Yeah.
I was kind of sorry to see him move, but he moved to New York, so I think he's doing pretty well for himself, at least up until recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Timing. This comment came from the Miami Jazz Co-op here, and I'd like for you to talk about that.
Ah, yes.
The MJC Guitar Summits.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's been a really fun.
And we have a picture too. This is the first one, I think? Or
Yes, that is the first one.
so
Yeah,
explain to me how you corral all these, how you decide like who's going to come and how are you going to put all these guys together? It's not like you are on the same stage and would be too long if everybody just does one, so.
Right.
How do you work that?
I mean, I basically just, asked everybody, okay, think of a tune you want to do, make sure that you're not, I don't want to have 50 versions of Stella by Starlight or whatever. So, and I encourage people to use different instrumentation. So it wasn't all just, guitar, bass, and drums, guitar, bass, and drums, guitar, bass, and drums all night. And so we had a couple of duets, 2 guitar players either with bass and drums or without. And, I did a thing with a couple of friends of mine, Sandy Polterak and Fred Shaw. For years, we've sort of had this unofficial group that we call the Living Room Trio, because we almost always just play in Fred's living room. But anyway, so we played as 3 guitars, and at the end of the night, we actually did a guitar ensemble thing with whoever was left, at the end that wanted to play could play. So
right.
Yeah, it is always a little bit tough to get all those things scheduled and figure out the logistics of it. And then inevitably you'll have somebody who gets in touch at the very last minute. So, oh, I want to play, and you've already got everything all figured out, and then you have to kind of shuffle everything. So it's kind of a logistical nightmare to be honest. But it's still a lot of fun, and it's worth it. We've done 3 of them now, so I've always had a lot of fun every time we do them.
Yeah, you've done such a great job.
Sandy.
Yeah,
there's Sandy and I.
Yeah. So many. There really are so many great guitar players, and I know you were. You were there for when we did the big tribute to Randall Dollahan.
Absolutely.
And all the guitar players showed up again. Here's a photo of some of you guys, and makes me sad because I see Dan Warner right there, though, who left us way too soon. But I mean,
I'll always treasure that photo because I really rarely got to see Dan much over the years, and that night we hung out and talked and had a great time, and he said, "Oh man, you should come by my studio and hang out," and I had every intention of doing it, and then next thing I know, he was gone.
Yeah. And Randall was such a huge influence on all of you guys. That was such a joy seeing that night and him being honored, and you guys talking about his quirks and his strengths, and it was just so great, just so wonderful.
And I noticed that you have this going on as well. A lot of great educational videos, information for guitar players. How did that come about? Was this just your idea, or were you approached?
This company's been around for a while. It's called Mike's Master Classes, and another jazz guitarist who travels all over the place, but he lives in Portland, Oregon. His name is John Stoll. He's pretty well known in the jazz guitar world, I guess, and he used to come down to Miami fairly regularly. And one day we were hanging out, and he said, "Oh, you'd be good for this Mike's Master Class." And And I'm terrible at business. I would never approach somebody and say, oh, I want to do videos for your website or whatever. And he's sitting at my computer and he's typing out this email. Dear Mike, blah, 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 Tom, I recommend him. And he's like, okay, so what do you think? And I was like, whoa, wait. And he hits send.
Oh my God.
And
Right.
so I really have to give John Stoll credit because he basically insisted on, recommending me to Mike Geller. And it turned out to be a great thing. I was, a little bit not sure how I was going to even do this at first. I had to produce videos myself.
Right.
All the people that do those for this company, it's not like we go to a production center and they shoot video and we just show up and do our thing.
Right.
We produce written materials and backing tracks if you need them, and the videos we make ourselves. So all that was a big learning curve for me to learn how to do all that stuff. But it really seems to be kind of in my wheelhouse to do it because I seem to take to it.
Good.
And I've been pretty successful with it. So it's really been a great thing. I always learn a lot when I do a class. I'll
Right.
pick a subject that I want to learn about, and then I'll
Right.
write, research a bunch about it and practice and write a bunch of music and whatever, and then I end up learning about it, and then I get to make money from it. So what could be better than that?
I always in my lessons, I always assign students songs that I want to learn.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to learn this song, so here, I'll learn
Best
it with
excuse.
you.
Exactly. Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes I'll get students that'll email me and say, on page 13 or, an hour and 13 minutes into this video, you talked about this concept. Could you expound that a little? And I'm usually like, I don't even remember that. Go back and look at oh yeah, I forgot about this. I got to practice this.
Right. Exactly.
I'm brilliant.
So are you itching to get back to live teaching as opposed to the online thing?
Yes and no. I mean, I love definitely being in the same room with student and being able to interact, and I really miss being able to play with people for sure.
Yeah,
Students
that's
or
the
other,
big thing.
Yeah. But at the same time, I've been teaching Skype lessons for years anyway. So
Right.
when all this happened and they're okay, we're gonna have to switch over to online, and everybody's freaking out. I was kind of like, well, I think I've got this,
Yeah.
And there was a little while there at some of the schools. They're like, oh, we're gonna switch to this online format, and we have to do it this way. And I was kind of like, oh, this is gonna be really difficult. And then they're like, oh, you're teaching private lessons? Oh yeah, you can just do whatever you want.
Whatever
Skype,
you want.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, what a relief, because I already kind of had that figured out.
Right.
So yeah, and one thing that I do think is nice about this situation, there always comes up these situations when I'm at school where I'll want to show somebody, say, oh man, you should check out this book that I have, or this file that I have on my computer. Oh, it's at home, I don't have it. And now
Right.
I just turn on screen share. Here it is.
Yeah.
Right,
Whatever.
right.
My
Yeah.
entire record collection is here. All
Yeah.
my books that I've ever owned. So that's cool.
Sure.
And also the other thing that is great about the online thing is because I can't play with the students, I'm actually forced to just listen to them and when I'm not playing. And I've
Right.
noticed that I pick up a lot of things that I wouldn't because when I'm playing, a lot of my brain power is funneled into myself playing. So
Yeah.
now I can use every single bit of my attention, and I pick up stuff I think that I wouldn't have picked up otherwise.
Yeah.
Sure.
Notice things that.
Good point. Now, we're going to ask you to play one more song, and then, of course, after that song, stick around to find out what Hal has in store for you. But I would like you to explain this picture before you play your last song.
The pickled babies.
Yeah. I just thought that would be kind of fun to put in there. This is my most viewed or most liked or something picture on Facebook.
Of course. Of course
Yeah.
it is.
I was at I forget the name of the store, but some store that has a bunch of discontinued products and stuff, and it was I don't even remember what the product was. It was pickled baby.
Yeah, they're
beets
I
or
think they're
something.
beets. Yeah, baby beets.
Okay, and I just thought it would be funny to cover up the word beet, kind of.
Put your
Yeah.
insane face. Yeah.
Right,
Nice.
exactly.
That's so
And a
funny.
lot of people thought it was funny, and when I put it up on Facebook, I got a few comments like, "Oh, that's creepy," you know.
That's fantastic. Oh boy, the things that we think of, you know, and just cover up those words and put pickled baby.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
All right, let's hear you play, and then we'll bring
yeah,
Hal on.
then we'll bring Hal on.
Yeah, and see what's going
All
on.
right. Yeah,
Pass
I'm
the
definitely
baton.
looking forward to hanging
Yeah.
out a little bit. So I'm going to finish out, if it's okay, I'm going to do another medley. The first one, I actually, referring back to Dan Warner, I kind of wanted to do this as a little bit of a tribute to him. This is the old tune of Danny Boy. And it's an arrangement that I put together a while back. I hope I can play it okay. If I screw it up, it's because of the connection.
It's the internet.
Yeah. And then I'm going to also, in the same sort of thing, go use the song The Sound of Music from the musical The Sound of Music. So I've always loved that song, and I think, you know, in this climate, it really reminds us what's really important to us as musicians. So anyway, that's what I'm going to play for you guys.
All right.
Great, Tom Lippincott.
Wrong pedal. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
so
Yes.
good, so good.
So does the phrase "shrimpy Moses" mean anything to you?
Yeah, it does.
Do we want to know? I'll
Yeah,
take that.
I think it's family friendly.
Done.
Yeah.
That was my nickname that my older sister gave me when I was a kid.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember why, and I asked her, and she doesn't remember why either.
And then
So,
there's this. We
I
have.
mean, the shrimpy part was that I was little, so you know.
Right.
So you've got your whole fam watching. That's so nice.
Yeah, I guess Nancy, she's the sister that gave me that's at nom de plume.
Nicholas Rousseau says, "Yeah, Tom." Let's see if I get. I don't know why I can't get. And Steve Rucker says, "Great to hear you, Tom." So we got lots of people. Lisanne and Bobby are
Excellent.
watching. Of course,
Yes.
the fabulous Sandy Polterak.
Hey.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice to see that there's some friendly signatures out there.
oh yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. I mean, what you do is very unique, man. It's just such a pleasure to watch you and hear you.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
great.
thanks.
Just great.
I'm really happy to be here. It was a lot of fun. It definitely broke up the monotony of the pandemic.
Yes.
If not just for an hour, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Now, this leads us into our next segment, which you need to stick around for.
Yeah.
To bring on our next guest, who is also an educator and a great pianist, vocalist, entertainer. He's published some works, and he's very active. He's been doing a lot of these virtual piano bars, so he has the beat on everybody for this sort of thing.
Bring him on and let's see what he has to say.
How Roland, ladies and gentlemen?
You just removed him from the stream.
Oh.
I had,
Did
I
I do
had
that?
added him.
Add to the stream.
There he
Here
is.
he comes.
Maybe he was there.
Uh
Come
oh.
on, Hal, you can do it.
We've got this,
Where's
Hal.
Hal?
We've got this. Hal.
Did we lose Hal?
Did we lose Hal?
We did
Well,
lose.
Hal, if you're listening, just come back into the stream.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Hal, but
But in the meantime, until he comes back, this is what he looks like. Trust us.
you know what was
Yep.
I found interesting is that is like every musician that we've had on so far has always says I'm so glad I did this. It actually forced me to practice. Like I really sat down and like worked on some stuff that I haven't done in
Yeah.
a really long time. So that's always good. Did you find yourself like shedding?
Yeah, absolutely. I when I first found out about this, I was like, well, if I'm going to play solo guitar, I better play some solo guitar. And I found that I had a lot more fun than I've had doing other stuff recently in my practice, just sitting and playing solo guitar by myself for a few hours. It was almost like playing a gig. It's like I said, okay, I'll just pretend the gig is starting and play a bunch of tunes, and it was a lot of fun. And I think it made me realize how gigging and performing is such an important part of what we do just in terms of like, keeping up our chops. Like being on gigs is just as important as being in the practice room.
Right. Oh, look who's here.
Look who's here. Speaking of needing to practice, I mean,
Hi. Welcome back, Hal.
I didn't hear anything you just said because my internet has been on and off all night. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we've been testing it for the last couple of days, and it's worked out fine.
I don't think that was your end, so we're
Okay.
good.
Oh, all right.
We'll hope. We don't know. Well, that's the crazy thing. It's like we do all these tests in advance,
Right.
and every day is different. Every time is different because people are either using it too much or
Right. This is the time of night that everybody's home and they're all streaming everything. So.
Well, everybody's supposed to be home anyway. So.
Well, that's true. And I went
Yes.
out driving the other day for the first time in a few days, and I couldn't believe how many people were on the road. Everybody's supposed to be home, but Home Depot was packed.
Were they?
The
Wow.
parking lot was full. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it was really, but I'm not judging. Just observing.
All right. So, what is this big? Before we really start getting into the nitty gritty of Hal Roland, what's the story of? Now we've built it up, so it's probably going to be a big letdown, but it's
It
okay.
is going to be a huge letdown. It's not nearly as funny, but no. Tom played we played in a band together for a long time, and it were all corporate gigs, weddings, and whatever. And so it was party time, and Tom joined the band after the band had been together for a while, and Tom's kind of shy and doesn't come off as this outgoing personality until until you get to know him, and he came on. Man, his sound is fantastic, and he's a great player, and of course, and then after a few gigs went by, we happened to get into a night that was pretty heavy rock stuff, and I was like, okay, Ada Semo was with me, and we were like, well, let's see how it goes with some rock stuff, and Tom turned into a raging lunatic out of nowhere.
Shred monster.
I mean, what you just heard was lovely and beautiful and artistic and gentle and so well compassionately played. He was nothing like that. And
Nice.
the funny now having known that, Dan, after a couple of gigs, the funny story goes that we were playing somewhere, and it was I think it was probably a country club, and they were getting a little wild, and so I said, okay, ladies in the audience, as you can see, we have a very shy guitar player over here, so he's going to launch into a solo, and when he does, I want you all to rush the stage yelling and screaming. So he starts playing, and all these, maybe like 30 women come running onto the stage and like attack him. And it was just hilarious.
I always thought that was normal when Tom
Yeah.
Lippincott plays. No.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well, normally they attacked me, but it's a little more anger.
Oh my God. That's funny.
So it was to see him, and and Dave Fernandez. You talked a lot about Dave Fernandez earlier, and I happened to get Dave Fernandez in the band when he was like a senior in high school. I mean, he was so young, and he didn't talk for like the first 4 gigs.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know what his
What a
voice
blessing.
sounds like.
No,
What
I'm
a
sure.
blessing.
Well, it just shows how far he's come.
You would know how good we had it.
I am never
That's
going to get
right.
Dave Fernandez on this show.
We'll have to talk to him. We'll give him a call.
No, we love him.
Yeah,
Well-
no, he's fantastic. Yeah,
Well,
very
once
fun.
again, we'd just like to thank Tom Lippincott for
Yeah.
coming and doing his amazing work, and hope to hear you and play with you sometime in the near future.
Very soon. Yeah.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Tom.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Have
Bye-bye.
a great night. So you young man,
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
how you doing?
Hey.
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to this all day. I've been just sort of thinking about what I'm going to do and thinking about what I'm going to say, but I know none of that is going to make any sense because I don't know what you're going to ask me.
Well, you know, the thing that I found the most interesting about this show is that I know everybody that we've talked to, but we do a little bit of research, so we find out all these things about you guys that I had no clue about. You know,
It's true, because we end up playing a certain amount of time together, but our careers, all of us, well, of our generation anyway, we've been doing this for a long time. So you start going back and realize all these things that you've accomplished, as a performer. Like I did not know that you had published some article, I guess a section in a book, a few times. So maybe you can tell us about that a little bit later. But before we get into any of that, please do your thing and let us hear your fantastic playing in your
play
voice.
us something.
I will. I'm going to take my headphones off so I can hear myself well.
You got it.
Do it.
All right, and then I'll put it back on after the tune.
Hal Roland, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a marvelous night for a moon dance, with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance, beneath the cover of October skies. With the leaves of the trees that are falling, with the sounds of the breezes that blow. And I'm trying to love to the calling, with your heartstrings that play soft and low. In the night's magic seems to tremble inside, and the soul moonlight seems to climb in my eyes. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love, my love? Now there's a funny story that I'm going to tell you about this song. The whole reason I ever learned this song and did my own arrangement to it, because it was Matt Bonelli's least favorite song. Right? And so I said, well, let me see if I can do something with this to make it fun. So this is how it sort of turned out. And it turned out, we all end up enjoying playing it, so check it out. All right. Well, I want to make love to you tonight. I can't wait till the morning will come, 'cause I know that the time is so right, and so straight to my arms you're gonna run. If you go, you know my heart will be waiting to make sure that you're never alone. And then will my dreams come true, dear? And then will I make you my home? Every time I touch you, you just tremble inside, 'cause I know how much you want me now. You can't hide. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love, my love? Every time I touch you, you just tremble inside, and I know how much you want me now. You can't hide. Can I just have one more moon dance? You, my love. Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Can I just have one more moon dance?
please.
Okay.
Can you unmute us? Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, evidently Hal's internet had some issues so that he froze right in the middle of that. So, because of that, we're going to bring on somebody to explain why they hated, what they had against the whole moon dance scenario. So, Matt Benelli.
Hi! Oh, hey. Oh my God. Is that your Bootsy Collins-ish?
This is my
look?
Bootsy Collins glasses, just for Monday nights.
Wow.
For you guys, I'll remove them. I'll put on something a little more subtle. So these are much better.
Wow.
Anyway, it's a perk,
I like
Okay,
it.
so the problem with moon dance is
Yeah.
it's like hours and hours of 3 notes for the bass.
Okay. So it's
And
not that you hate
usually
the
most-
song. It's not that you hate the song. You just hate the idea of playing the same thing over and over again.
No. I hate the idea of not so good piano players doubling those 3 notes so that the bass player is strangled by them and cannot do anything else.
Hey,
They
Hal.
actually play like 4 notes.
What you doing over here?
Cool.
He's explaining why Moon Dance is his favorite song now.
Now that
yes.
now that you fixed it.
Correct.
That's funny. And Steve Rucker was the one that told me that. You didn't tell me that. Oh, nice. I like it. Wow.
Well, hold on. You know what? You know you just said the magic word.
There they are.
So
I think your mic is
Yeah.
muted, Steve.
Oh,
Is Steve's-
your mic is muted, Steve.
is it?
There we
Of
go.
course it is.
Oh.
I just didn't want to blast you guys because I know
There we go.
a lesson. So what's so let's play. Oh wait.
Right?
Well, we should talk that you guys have worked together for
I'm ready.
quite some. You guys have worked together for quite some time, have you not?
Yeah. We started playing in the early '90s. There you go.
Last century.
Yeah. And Hurricane Andrew sort of stopped our momentum for a little while. We started playing at Monty's. I was playing at Monty's, and then and some of the personnel left, and we said, hey, Joy Francis was playing with us, and she said, let's get Matt Benelli. And I didn't really know Matt, and I was like, well, he's not gonna want to, Matt, he was up there and I'm down here, and it was Matt, and so, but as it turned out, he felt like doing it, and so he joined the band. Oh, nice! That is the Monty's band right there. That was the last incarnation of it. Because then, and once Matt got in, then Matt, when the drummer left, then Matt got Steve in.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. And so that was and since then, as soon as that band got together, I said I got to do everything I possibly can to get enough work so that I can keep them playing with me. That was really my
Right.
mission for the next 25 years. Yeah. To keep them busy enough that they would still play.
Right. And
it's
clearly you
worked out,
guys
yeah.
I see
We've got
there's some
them all.
Miami Jazz Co-op action there.
Yeah, that was one. I think we've done 2. And that was, I can't tell which was the first or whatever, but
I would like for you to tell me a little bit about this picture on the front of your cover. I want to know what exactly you were thinking about.
yeah. Well, that was a photo shoot that I did. Actually, I hired a photographer.
You do.
And I
You
was
look.
thinking-
You look. Hal, you look dreamy. Can I just say that? You look dreamy.
I was dreaming. I was not drinking. I was just
Fabio comes to
Yes,
mind a little
exactly.
bit. I like it.
Yeah.
But since the keyboard was there and it was a good quality photo, and so I used that one.
Oh, it looks great.
And
worked out.
this is is that your third CD that you had recorded?
Well, in order, there's 3 that I have that are published, like online and everything, and let's see, that one would have been, that must be the first one
Okay.
that I did. And then I did the Latin Jazz CD, the Trio 305,
Okay.
with Rodolfo and Cayo. And then I did a steel drum CD after that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Would you
So-
mind if we played a little excerpt from this CD?
Not at all. Which one?
A little bit of Greenlight.
Okay.
Here
Can I
comes.
say something about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please do.
Because when we were recording, this was over 2 nights of recording.
Please don't
And,
tell me that Matt hated this song too.
No. Well, this was the one that I came in with the least amount of ideas with. I said, I got, some chords to it, and I didn't. We had not ever really played it together. I said, let's just throw this in there and see if we can make it work. And it really ended up being, one of the better tunes on the CD, I think, as far as, recreating a song. So
No rehearsal.
no rehearsal. And
How have we ever rehearsed? I don't think we have.
Sometimes, when you're that good, you don't need to. What do you need to rehearse?
Well,
No?
you just have to I just have to make sure I'm prepared enough that everything is. If I have an idea of what it is, so that they can follow anything and they can contribute to anything. But the
Right.
times that I've sort of, and I was nervous about this tune because I wasn't really together on it. But it wasn't a song that they knew. This is
Right.
not one that was that popular in the jazz idiom. So
And that's why you get great musicians.
that's why.
That's true.
Let's hear a little bit. It's
Yeah,
not the whole
check it
track, but it's a couple minutes of it.
I see you move, checking your smile, working your back like it's going out of style. Shake just a little bit faster, shake just a little now, girl, I'm dying to meet you, so let's mess around. Got an obsession getting us down. Come just a little bit closer, I just need permission, so give me the green light. Give me just one night. Ready to go right now. I'm ready to go right now. Do I have a girlfriend? Technically no. You'll be my girlfriend and I'll make it so. You'll be my only true lover. No competition, no others. Baby, it's just the thrill of the chase. I've got a feeling I'm winning this race. Baby, I'm getting much closer. I just need permission, so give me the green light. Give me just one night. Ready to go right now. Ready to go right now. We can go all night. Give me the green light. Ready to go right now. I'm ready to go right now.
Woo!
Yeah.
So can you get that anywhere? You can buy that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all on all the things.
Now you might be our first guest, Hal, that does not actually have a website.
I do theoretically have a website. It's yeah. You could say that I don't have a website. That is. It's not an active website. It's called a brochure website. This is what we call it.
Is that what you're calling it?
That's yeah. It's not a very well kept up. I mean, I'm not under the impression that anybody goes to websites anymore.
It could be
really.
true. It could be
That's
true.
why I don't spend a lot of time. Steve, of course, is a senior level website programmer and creator, and I'm saying that, but you know,
I'm hearing a plea for help.
Well, I'm a senior level, that's for sure.
Hal, Russell, this was Russell's comment about your cover, I think.
right? Is that microphone? Yes.
No, I mean the CD is burning. It really is great. It's so fun. I'm really loving. You know, we had George on last week, and his whole record is jazz takes on classic rock tunes, and all of these are pop, and it's just so good. It's so fun to hear. I mean, for me, I love hearing songs I know done in a new way, and
He probably rehearsed for his too.
He had to. That thing that they do of Roundabout, there's no way that you can just throw that out there. It's impossible. So yeah, they did a great.
the magic of studio.
And it was, you know, that particular tune and a lot of the records, a lot of the recordings on that CD, I mixed them myself at home, and I like wanted to make sure that because Steve was playing so light and so, you know, it sounds bigger than he's playing it. You know, and I wanted to make sure that whatever that ride was, Steve, that you were using, that was like super, super light and very fragile, and I just wanted to make sure that I started with that, and then I mixed everything around that to make sure that it was.
Wow, cool. That's the way everything should be mixed, right?
Says the drummer.
Start with the flat ride and then build everything around that.
Exactly.
You guys sound great on that track. You're right. It's a very subtle groove.
Mm-hmm.
It just it's propelled by just this light touch, and you sound great on that too, Matt.
And the other funny story about that recording session, the second night we were exhausted. Yeah, let me finish this. We were done. I said, okay, we're done. Thank you for coming. They were tired. Everybody was like a little, you know. And then I said, oh, we forgot to do 7 days. And then,
Oh my God.
And I saw Steve just immediately start setting his drums back up, you know, because he knew that, you know, we wanted to get that down. So
What a good guy. What were you going to say, Matt? I think Matt's on a little lag here.
I mean, really could just like record the ride cymbal and just imagine everything else, and you don't even need to put anything else on there.
I hear you.
That's deep.
Well, we wanted to have Matt and Steve on to to keep up the your social distancing, but getting to see all your people. And I know you guys haven't gotten to see each other for a while, so this is how we could all be together. So thank you guys for coming on. You guys
Thank
are
you,
always
great
All right.
idea. Appreciate
All righty.
it.
It was a
you're always a
pleasure.
fun time.
Thanks again, guys.
Great to see.
It's so fun to have good friends.
It was
Did
great
we-
to see you too.
We did not lose Hal, did we? Again?
I didn't do anything.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure that
Where'd
I did.
Hal go?
But Hal will come back.
Hal, he better come back.
I'm pretty sure that Hal will
We
come
are
back
nothing
soon.
without Hal at this point.
Why don't you tell a little story while I make sure that Hal comes back?
Well, you know what I did want to say, and maybe if you show me where the brochure is, we are going to do, Steve, we are going to do a special show on Friday. Is it May 1st?
We have that over here.
I know you guys. You have a thing. I was looking for that, but we're going to do a big show for Ira Sullivan's birthday, and the Miami Jazz Co-op has a kind of history of celebrating Ira's birthday every single year. So this year, of course, we cannot do it. So we can't do it in person. But we didn't want the day to go by without a mention. So we are putting together a big tribute and party for Ira Sullivan on his birthday, which is Friday, May 1st, so a week from Friday. And it's going to be an afternoon thing because we want all of his friends and fans in Europe and all around the world to be able to watch as well. And so it's going to be May 1st at 2 p.m. and it's going to be a lot of guests and it should be a lot of fun. We're working on putting it together right now. So we have no idea, well, we're working on it now. And so we're excited about that. So we hope that everybody will mark their calendars and join us for that because that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, we can also talk about next week's
Yeah,
guests. while
and
we
so
have them on.
next week, we weren't sure how long we were going to be doing this social distancing thing, but it looks like we're going to be doing it for a lot longer than we originally planned. So we're excited that next week we're going to have the amazing Jesse Jackson. I was going to say no, that's not right. Jesse Jones Jr. and Alex Brandenburg playing and singing, and that's going to be a fun show. That's another one where we have to work out the technical stuff with Jesse and get him the mic, and actually we're going to have to get him a computer for that too, because I don't think he
Exactly.
has a computer with a camera on it. So we have to work out all these glitches and figure this
Yeah.
stuff out.
And I think did you mention that there are, as far as Ira's performance, there's a time difference and that we have a few other things scheduled for afternoons?
Right, I did say it was going to be in the
Right.
afternoon.
Right, so we have, and one of the reasons for doing that is because we have European friends and fans that may want to come and join us, and there's a 6-hour time difference at least. And so we have a couple of other projects that we're trying to pull together for that same purpose with some different guests,
Yeah.
some
We also
not household names
We
either.
also were going to be having a huge celebration, a really big concert on June 1st, or actually I think it was May 31st for our big 10-year anniversary. And that, of course, we can't do that either. So we're trying to put together something really special for that. And I think we just got Hal back. So maybe his internet.
Hello again.
I'm now.
You just
I'm
want to
now
give me a
streaming to
damn
my
heart
phone.
attack. Well, oh my
So
gosh.
sorry.
We were at the point
No.
that the next step was jokes, and that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's where I come in.
I was going to start stripping,
Oh my
actually.
how about some music, Hal?
You see, even he doesn't want to see that.
Right. An awkward moment. Yeah, that's no problem. Let's see here. What do I want to do? I'm gonna do another tune here for you. Okay. So let's see if this works. Okay, so this next song that I'm gonna do is it's a very the whole song are these 3 chords, but I just couldn't hear it. I couldn't have it. So I started adding stuff, this right here, right? Yeah. Here we go. Girl, I'm in love with you. This ain't the honeymoon, past the infatuation phase. Right in the thick of love, at times we get sick of them. Seems like we argue every day. I know I misbehave, you made your mistakes. You got no room left to grow. Although love sometimes hurts, I still put you first. And we'll make it work out. But I think we can take it slow. We're ordinary people. We don't know which way to go. Yeah, we're ordinary people. Maybe we'll take it slow. Take it slow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This time we're gonna take it slow. This ain't a movie we know, no fairy tale conclusion, y'all. It's more confusing every day. Sometimes it's heaven sent, then we head back to hell again. We kiss and make up all the way. I know I speak here, you made your mistakes. We still both got room left to grow. As our love advances, we'll take second chances. It's not a fantasy, but I still want you to stay. We're ordinary people. There's no much way to go. Oh, yeah. We're ordinary people. Maybe we'll take it slow, take it slow. Yeah. This time we'll take it slow. Slow. This time we're gonna take it slow. Take it slow. Maybe we'll live and learn. Maybe we'll crash and burn. Maybe we'll stay. Maybe we'll leave. Maybe you'll return. Maybe we'll fuss and fight. Maybe we won't survive. You'll never know. You'll never go. Maybe you and I, we're ordinary people. We don't know which way to go. Oh, yeah. We're ordinary people. Maybe we'll take it slow, take it slow. Yeah, yeah. This time we're gonna take it slow. Slow. This time we're gonna take it slow.
Very nice.
No wonder I can't hear you.
You know, it's between the masks and the earphones and the.
Oh.
I feel so disconnected to the world. You know, it's like I don't like walking around with masks and gloves, and you know, we're so used to a high touch world,
Yeah.
and it's very comfortable, and it's very and it's, you know, we got to do it, but
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Yeah, it's no fun. You want to tell us about
Yeah.
this picture, Hal? I mean, let me just
Oh.
tell you that Nikki still fumes that you're a hidden bass player.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's my first band in high school. I started in this band when I was 11, and they had a guy that played piano.
Okay.
So I said, sure, I can play bass. Absolutely, I can play. I didn't have a
Right.
bass.
So
That is
can I
something,
ask you?
you know.
But you couldn't. But you couldn't do bass face on piano like this.
That's right. Absolutely not.
So
You gotta
are you
have the
trying?
bass face.
Are you trying to say that it's really easy to pick up a bass and play?
Wow.
I would never say that.
Wow.
Not to this crowd.
I
Only-
think
well,
that's
to
what you
play
just
at my-
said.
To play at my level, it is easy. To play
Right.
at my level.
But
You know,
the
to
crazy
play
thing
at
for me,
anybody
Hal,
else's level.
the crazy thing for me, Hal, is honestly you do just pick up instruments, because I also know that you play accordion, and I also know that you happen to play and gig on steel drums. So
Yeah, that.
uh,
Well, the theory is, I mean, the reality is, I don't know how to say no to things. Because I had an agent that called me and he said, hey, if you could play marimba, because that's like a piano, he thought it was
Yeah.
a great idea. If I got a marimba, all right, I could get you some tropical gigs, and, you know, but then, you know, a marimba's like, it's like a $2,500 instrument at best, and it takes forever to set up and break down, and it weighs a ton. So I
Right.
said, well, I'll spend a little more time, learn to play the steel drums, and then he, you know, I'll let you know, and I'll do that. And he goes, okay. So he called me about 2 weeks later, and I said, he goes, how's it going? And I said, oh, it's, you know, it's coming. And he goes, can you do a gig in 10 days? And I said, yeah, sure.
oh
why
my
not?"
gosh. Well,
Now,
here's
the
an.
funny,
Go
the
ahead.
funny part is, I didn't even have one yet.
Oh my God.
I didn't tell him the truth. I didn't even have one yet. So then I immediately drove up to Stewart was the closest place I could find somebody that had one that I could buy. I brought it back down, started practicing, learning from scratch, and it was not easy.
That's amazing. Well, here's a little clip that we have of
Tiny
you
little bit.
a little bit. We just put together like 30 seconds.
Okay.
You see that? That's amazing. I love it when people are not afraid of anything. You know what I mean? That sense of like, oh, this looks interesting. I think I'll try to play it, and you do.
Mhm.
It's such a fun thing.
Yeah, music allows you to do that. It's great. I agree.
And that impresses me a bit because I've worked with a fellow Molyneux, and I'm assuming that steel drums are tuned the same, and I cannot see any consistent like logic to it. It's half steps are like across the pan. It's very strange.
Well, there's a reason for that. Actually, for that where the half steps are far enough away is because when you hit a note over here, you don't want it to vibrate a half step next to it.
Okay.
Okay.
See, all the notes around each note are in the harmonic series. They were either fifths, octaves, or fourths. So that way there's no dissonances. Now the thing is about Othello, he makes his own pan, and it's not tuned. I could never play his pan.
Oh,
because
wow.
he comes from a time back in the day when everybody made their own, and they would tune them however they felt like it.
Okay.
So his is tuned his own way, and he explained it to me one night where, the tuning of a pan is in circles, but his is a line in, and then it's a circle out, and it's a whole different thing that I wouldn't begin to try and play.
Right.
Look, you're always the educator, Hal. Always the educator. Speaking
it's
of
a
that,
very interesting intern. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and speaking of that, so you are an educator. You're teaching at Miami-Dade,
Right.
Kendall campus.
Oh, here's a good pic of his recital.
This-
your master's recital, and I believe you had the boys in the band.
That's
the
right.
boys in the band, and you were playing the
Pipe organ.
pipe organ.
Yes. Yes,
Wow.
I had the idea that because I had taken of the 2 years I was there, I took a year of pipe organ with Joanne Schulte, and she's a master organist, and I wanted to take advantage of that opportunity to take from her. They were expecting me to take classical piano, and I said, well, I could do that, but I'd rather learn a new instrument, and that is a completely different instrument, even though it's keyboard oriented.
Yeah.
The playing technique is completely different. You're playing pedals, you're pulling out stops, your feet are stepping on stops. It's a whole thing. And I really enjoyed, I didn't really get to where I would like to have gotten after a year, but I have a lot of respect for people who play, and I thought, it'd be really great to, because that picture shows the pipe organ, but when the recital started, those doors covered it up. And then like halfway through the first song, I opened up the doors and got on the.
Did you have a phantom mask? Did you turn around with a phantom mask?
I didn't have a phantom mask, and I didn't have a cape, but
That would have
I
been
thought about
epic.
it, but no. I thought Jerry Campbell would have walked out.
Well, explain to us this picture, because this looks like somebody vaguely like Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Well, that is, and the other person on the left that's got his back to us is Barry Gibb, and I had done work with the Bee Gees, thanks to Matt and Steve.
Yeah.
They recommended me, and then I was also helping Barry do a lot of songwriting, and so he called me up one day and he said, "Listen, we're going to start on a couple of new songs, so I want you to come in, and I'm going to be, there's going to be a guest working with us." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great. Who is it?" And he said, "Well, I've been doing some writing with Michael Jackson." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, really?" and you want me to? Okay, good. So so there was a bass player there who was only there the first day. I tell you, the bass player, not it wasn't Matt, it was somebody else, and the bass player decided that he wanted to take a picture with Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson's nose was pretty messed up at the time that we did this, and so he took a picture, and Michael Jackson let him take the picture, but then he never came back to the sessions after that. It was just me and Barry and Michael in a room in their tracking room, and I had a bunch of keyboard equipment, and Barry would come in with some ideas for some songs, and I would create the tracks for them based on what they told me. So yeah, it was, it was crazy.
That's amazing. You see all these things we know about. We're learning about you. I love that. The thing that we've been having an awesome time with is your virtual piano bars, and we have some pictures of that. And I wanted to do a couple of housekeeping things. So I wanted everybody to, if you can, like and share on Facebook, Miami Jazz Co-op on Facebook or on YouTube. That would be a huge help to us to keep spreading the word and letting everybody know what we're doing, because we really are here to support the music and the musicians. So the other thing is, if you, I know a lot of us are not able to at this point, but if you can and you want to help musicians, you can text tip jar to 44321. And the way we've been working it out is whoever is on the show that night, they split whatever money goes to the tip jar. So, Hal would get half and Tom would get half. And I know this is, I know you haven't had a gig in, none of us have had a gig in almost 2 months now. So, luckily we have some teaching gigs, but a lot of musicians, have no work. So if you are fortunate enough to be able to support the musicians, we would really appreciate it.
It does help.
And that's how we're working it. Whoever's on the show, we just split it, not us. The actual performing peoples. We're just like, I don't know, goofballs on the side. but we would really appreciate it.
Yes.
They would really appreciate it. It would be fantastic.
How about we let Hal play something, and then we'll talk about the piano bar.
Is that how you want to do it?
I think so.
Okay, could you play something else for us?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to do an original tune. How about that?
Oh, nice. I
Oh,
love
you
it.
did mention that. Yeah.
Yeah. My goal for the next year or two, is to start writing a lot more original vocal tunes. I've written a lot of instrumental stuff, but I have not done a whole lot of my original vocal tunes, and so I think it's going to be fun to start incorporating that into everything that I do. So
Great.
This tune I'm going to do, and it's a ballad. It can be somewhat makes sense with what's going on in the world, and and all of that. So check it out and see what you think. All right?
All right.
Let's give it a shot.
Good.
Hold on. Oh. Wait. Okay. There it is. In each life, there is many a road to cross. The other side offers gain and sometimes loss. But we all share a want to find peace of mind. That's not all we share, you and I. As we find our way through our maze of choices, decisions will be made by the turns that we take. Knowledge is the key, filled with love through and through. That's why it's so important that I cross this road with you. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. I can cross all alone, but I can't cross back again. What will I say when my journey's done? of song will they say I've sung? Today I think and use what I've learned along the way. And I cross this road just once and endure, come what may. As we find our way through our maze of choices, decisions will be made by the turns that we take. Knowledge is the key, filled with love through and through. That's why it's so important that I cross this road with you. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. I can cross all alone, but I can't cross back again. Yeah. Why do you hesitate? There ain't no time to wait. Put your hand in mine, now's the time to trust your fate. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. I can cross all alone, but I can't cross back. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. Looks like we're at a crossroads again. I can cross all alone, but I can't cross back again.
Beautiful song.
Hal Roland.
That's
Thank
fantastic.
you so much.
We have,
So-
yes, go ahead.
So yeah, obviously the name of the tune is Crossroads, and hey, look at that, my mom's on. She found it. Wow, that's awesome. I was trying to get her to figure out how to do it, but she figured it out, which is great.
Yay,
So,
you see that?
nice. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you come up with this song?
Actually, I wrote this song a long time ago. There's about 6 tunes that I wrote back in the 90s with Lindsay Blair and Jonathan Joseph and Pete Sebastian. We had this gig for a while. It was a dream gig of going to a studio 5 days a week and getting paid and
Yeah.
Wow.
writing songs and recording stuff. So that was a really nice, and so I recorded a bunch of, we were working with a songwriter, but I also wrote a lot of stuff, and we ended up recording a lot of things. So
That's very
I got
cool.
some good projects out of it. Yeah.
So talk to us about what gave you the idea to start the virtual piano bar.
Well, I think clearly he wanted to travel abroad
So, that's well.
because he went to so many great places like Paris,
That's right. That's right. Yes.
and then he. I'm not sure where this might have been.
Oh, that's the Amazon rainforest.
It's the Amazon rainforest, right? And I know you went to Salzburg, Austria. And what I love about this picture is that clearly Salzburg has some really good-looking people walking around, like that
They look just
handsome,
like you.
that handsome devil with the umbrella. But the best part of this is that I remember when you were doing the virtual piano bars, and Wendy and I were in Europe, and you were saying, "Hey, listen, why don't you scout some really nice, spots where I could use it as a background, as a green screen?" Whereupon Wendy, of course, says, "You know what? Let's go to the most un-European places that we could find, something that gives you no idea of it." So she parked in front of this McDonald's, and but that is Austria.
That's Austria.
And then I guess you got bored and went to some more exotic locales like under the sea,
The bottom of the ocean. That's the bottom
Yeah.
of the ocean. Yeah.
So funny.
and then you went the other direction.
That was on the
Yeah.
anniversary of the Apollo 11 landing on the moon. That's why I ended up doing it that day.
But you just decided that it was a way to work on your nights off, or just
No, it wasn't. Actually, I was at a gig, a solo piano gig at a Seasons 52, playing piano. People are barely paying attention, whatever, and I'm just playing background music for the restaurant. and I was bored, and so I said, well, let me just see if I can get this Facebook thing to work. So I put it on, and I started playing, and I don't know what it sounded like, but and then people started coming on, and they'd say, hey, that sounds pretty good. And then I saw other people getting on, and they'd say, hey, Hal, where are you? You know, and then another person got on and say, well, can you play something by, you know, Bruce Hornsby or whatever?
Right.
And I started feeling like this is almost like a piano bar, and then there was like 30 people on, and I thought, and now
Right.
I'm paying attention to everybody on the phone and nobody in the audience because they
Right,
were just
right.
talking to themselves, and everybody's engaged on this, and I thought, wow, this is.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while, and then I thought,
And then you got lonely.
I really want to. Then I well, I started doing it from home at
Right.
first,
Right.
and because I could really focus on the audience, and so
Right.
that worked out. And then I got the green screen, which meant I could do it from anywhere. And then the best step forward was when we did it with you and Nikki and
Yeah, we
Ida
got
Sema and Ivan.
we have the picture.
And there it is. That's
Yeah.
it.
That was really
Yeah,
fun. Anita Sema was
that was-
cooking, and we had a
Yeah.
good time.
We got to
And,
get back to that.
this was at my house. This
Oh,
was
that's right.
actually that wasn't my birthday, or was it my birthday? That was before my birthday. But we did one on my birthday too. That was a lot of fun. But, yeah, it's been a blast.
Yeah. It really
and,
is. I
and
mean,
just totally relaxed and fun and
Yeah. And
yeah.
it's in our
Anybody
own
who
time.
watches it's like what we really
Mhm.
are like. You know, it's nothing put on.
Exactly.
So
Friends
It's
getting
musicians
together and
having
enjoying
fun.
each other. Yeah.
With
exactly.
no preconceptions of what anything's happening and you
Doing
know,
what we like to
it's
do,
great.
which is make music, which is
Yeah.
hysterical, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what we do on our time off.
Yeah. Make more music, of course.
Right. Right.
Hal, we're
Yeah.
running against the clock, but I did want you to talk
Yeah.
before you play your last song a little bit about your teaching and what you've been doing in terms of education.
Yeah. Well, I got well, there's a story behind that, and that is I went to hear a recital from Caio Iturralde, the bass player,
Mhm.
who was at Miami-Dade, and he did a recital. I think it was at 11 a.m. in the morning, and I got there early that day by accident, and I was like, I had time to kill, so I went over to your brother Mike's office to say hello to him, and so we talked for a little while, and Mike, you know, he said, you know, you never did get your master's here, right? And I said, no, I never did. You know, I just have been playing, and you know, and he goes, why don't you do it here? You know, we could make it easy for you, and you could come in and teach a class or two and help some of the kids that are here. And so, out of nowhere, and I remember walking on that day thinking, oh my gosh, I could never go back to school. This is this bubble of protection and, you know, non-reality that we're all so used to the real world, and you get back into the university system and it's just a different world. So,
Yeah.
but I, you know, I talked to Ida Sem about it, and she said, I think it's a great idea. And so, you know, it was a 2-year commitment because I was still playing every night. That was during that time that I was in school. I was also playing 7 nights a week. I was
Wow.
booked steady in places 7 nights a week. So it was crazy. I was never been so busy, but I really, you know, it got me back into the artistry of playing jazz, and you know, studying with Gary and studying with Mike, and then for a while Gerber came in. I studied with him for a semester, and it was really a great experience. Can't say enough about it. And then I got my degree, but everything was, you know, Mike was where he was, and Randy Tomasello was at Miami-Dade, and of course UM doesn't have a need for anybody. So, you know, I just had my degree, and I thought, well, if something, I'm not going to move somewhere to another university. I'm not that dedicated to, you know, because I really enjoy living in South Florida. I always have. And so, but in time, I did teach some at FIU, and then I've been teaching at Miami-Dade since 2018.
Yeah.
And so I got the degree in May of 2015, and then I started teaching in the fall of 2017, and since then. So it's been great. And I've and the books, you mentioned the 2 books that I've written. One I wrote in 1985.
Wow.
Because I was on a ship for a year, and I had a Yamaha DX7 at the time, and I thought, all right, I'm just on this
Cutting
ship,
edge
so
technology at the time.
At the time,
Yeah.
it was, and I learned, and I had all these notes about how to program sounds and how to get in and out of it, and I got pretty good at it. And when I got off the ship after being gone for a year, I ran into somebody from Warner Brothers, and they said, if you could turn those notes into a book, they would buy it in a heartbeat. And that's what happened. So I took all the notes that I had and rewrote it into a form that was a lesson plan of how to program in frequency modulation technology. And
Oh, sorry.
And the second one was recent, right? Last year?
the second one was recent. Last year,
Stop plug
I
this.
got a call from Bob Grabowski, who had a contact with Kendall Hunt Publishing, and he had already written a book about jazz history, but they wanted
Okay.
to expand it into jazz and popular music. So I wrote all the pop music side of the book.
Okay.
Very
So,
cool.
and even, there's a chapter on country music, there's a chapter on Latin jazz, there's a chapter on, of course, like hard rock and heavy metal and, just whatever, all the music that has happened, all the pop music that's happened
Yeah.
since basically like the late 50s. So,
That's very
Nice.
cool.
yeah. Yeah, it was
Well-
a great experience. It was, and there was deadlines. I mean, anybody that's ever written a book is, it's all about deadlines. So,
Yeah.
I had to just do nothing but finish this book for a month to get it done when they needed it to get done. So, it was
Speaking
good.
of
It was a good
deadlines.
experience. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
No.
Nice.
Yeah.
Will you take us out with one more song?
Sure, why not? Let's see what I got here.
I'm so glad you were prepared.
Yes. Oh, I prepare like I always have, even like the virtual piano bar. I got it all. It's in my head and whatever feels
I
right
love
at the
it.
time, right?
It's perfect.
Thank you.
So,
Hal Roland.
you're welcome. Well, thanks for having me. This has
Oh,
been
no,
really
it's
fun,
been a blast.
and
Been
I
great.
enjoyed what you did with Tom, and I know, and I thank you for all the nice comments that everybody has written along the way. I saw Helena, and I've seen some other people that are listening, and Russell,
Yeah.
one of my students, he made the Michael Bolton comment. So
And
yeah, I'll
Carol
be talking to you
Leon's
about that
on
tomorrow.
watching.
Right.
Oh, good, Carol. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Very
Excellent.
nice.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Just a castaway, I'm lost at sea. Oh, another lonely day with no one here but me. Oh, more loneliness than any man could bear. Rescue me before I fall into despair. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send an SOS to the world. Hope that someone gets mine. I hope that someone gets mine. I hope that someone gets my message in a bottle. Alright, yeah, yeah. Message in a bottle, yeah, yeah. A year has passed since I wrote my note. I should have known it right from the start. Only love can keep me together. Love can mend your life, but love can break your heart. I'll send an SOS to the world. I'll send an SOS to the world. Hope that someone gets mine. Hope that someone gets mine. Hope that someone gets my message in a bottle. Message in a bottle, alright. Oh, sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, sending out an SOS, sending out, sending out, sending out an SOS. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hello, Helen. Thank you. I love seeing all the messages.
Cassell, when's the next party? Gotta do another party soon. Who else is out there? Somebody else send me a note. Sending out an SOS. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Carol, there's Carol. I will see you tomorrow. Hope you've been practicing. Sending out an SOS. Sending out an SOS. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Should we go back or not?
Woo! Hal Roland!
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
We want to thank Hal Roland and we want to thank Tom Lippincott. And we want to thank all of you for watching. And once again, if you would please share and like our pages either on YouTube or on Facebook, that would really be a help. And we will be back next week with more Jazz and Conversation with Jesse Jones Jr. and Alex Brandenburg at 8 p.m. April 27th. And then that Friday at 2 p.m. we are going to celebrate the great Ira Sullivan. So we hope you will come back, and we'll see you next Monday and then next Friday. Everybody have a really safe and fantastic week. We thank you so much. Good night.